With respect to Syria, we do have differing perspectives on the problem, but we share an interest in reducing the violence, securing chemical weapons, and ensuring that they're neither used nor are they subject to proliferation.
And of course our opinions do not coincide, but all of us have the intention to stop the violence in Syria, to stop the growth of victims, and to solve the situation peacefully, including by bringing the parties to the negotiations table in Geneva. We agreed to push the parties to the negotiations table.
It seems to me they have a great media strategy. They don't have a great Syrian strategy. And I don't believe any of our members, and we had both Republicans and Democrats on the committee, express concern about where they think we are today and where we think the administration wants to go.
We have to be very discerning about what's in our interest and what the outcome, what outcome is best for us, and the prices that we're willing to pay to get to that place. We've rushed a war in this region in the past. We're not going to do it here.
It wasn't just a frosty meeting, it was a useless meeting. Putin is serious about what he's doing. He has a strategic idea that he wants to restore Russian influence in the region. They've been around for about 500 years in the region. They got kicked out by Kissinger in the early 70s when the Arabs turned against him and became the protectorate of the United States. This is a unique opportunity where the Americans have abdicated and where you have a president who announces at the very, after the tide of war has turned, that he's going to do something that is ultimately marginal. It's not going to have an effect on the outcome. He has this new red line policy announced by the deputy national security advisor. Forget about the national security advisor. And as we just heard, the chief of staff of the president announces that we're only going to pay something of a price. This is a declaration of unseriousness. It's exactly the same as when Obama announced the tripling of troops in Afghanistan and in the next sentence announced that we're leaving. If you're either serious about intervention or you aren't, and I'm against any intervention where you're not serious, because what he's doing now is risking getting caught in this. We're establishing essentially a base in Jordan, and who knows what's going to happen in Jordan, or you're not. And if you're not, stay out of it.
So you're saying don't send the small arms, just stay out completely.
Well, the alternative is if you want to change the course of the war, you make a speech to the American people to reverse what you see in the Pew poll. Obama has never spoken about Syria. It's not surprising that everybody is against it. You make a speech, you explain it, and you do something serious. You bomb the airfields. You don't have to establish you don't have to knock out all the aircraft equipment as we did in Libya. But if you prevent the aircraft from getting into the air by bombing the airfields, you have done something serious. You flood them with heavy weapons, not just light weapons, or you do nothing. But this, I think, is worse than nothing.
And the reality is we need to tip the scales, not simply to nudge them. And the president's moving in the right direction. If Assad continues to have unlimited air power and artillery, that's a hard battle to win against, simple arms.
Public opinion is not going to be changed. President Obama, Charles, can go out and give a speech, and the public is still going to be against intervening in this conflict. Sometimes you have to do something against public opinion polls. I don't think that he will do that,
but
though.
It's not going to be 80%. The same way that it went to practically zero in Afghanistan. If the president is sending signals as obviously as he did over the weekend, I am not interested, I'm doing this grudgingly, I'm not sure I even want to do this, it will have no effect, it will not move American public opinion, and it will demoralize the rebels rather than to give them a sense that America is behind them, which would be the whole point of this.
Except express cautious optimism that with a new election there, we may be able to move forward on a dialogue that allows us to resolve the problems with Iran's nuclear program.
Of course, our nuclear programs are totally transparent in nature, but we are ready to show more transparency and to show the world that Iran's nuclear work complies fully with the international framework.
Charles, your thoughts?
Look, the search for Iranian moderates is perpetual, and the answer is always the same. It's a mirage. We go back to the hostage crisis in '79. We were looking for the moderates. Then Iran-Contra started because the National Security Advisor of Ronald Reagan, of all people, had the idea that he knew of some moderates in Iran, and he went over on a secret trip. In the end, he was swindled and humiliated. So this happens over and over again. And this is a wish, it's not a reality. This is a guy, incidentally, who in 1999 was the man who spearheaded the crackdown on the student uprising, which was absolutely ruthless. He's not a moderate, he's not a Democrat. And on the issue of nuclear negotiations, in which he was heavily involved, he boasted about the fact that as he negotiated, they never stopped enriching uranium, which was the one demand of the West. And as you indicated in that quote, there is not an iota of difference between him and the Ayatollah, who essentially is the guy who runs Iran in any case, on the three important issues that we care about. Iran being nuclear, supporting Assad in Syria, and ultimately destroying Israel, our chief ally in the region.
About having completed the nuclear program while he was delaying the West, and now we're looking at him as some sort of great hope?
Quickly, does this change the dynamic of what's happening with the negotiations at all?
I don't think so.
It doesn't, but Obama will take the bait, and we're going to lose 6 months or more in useless negotiations, 6 months in which they're going to continue enriching uranium and getting near to a bomb.
Does it change Israel's timeline?
It probably will make Israel less likely to rely on the West, which it was hoping would at some point get serious. The resumption of negotiations would be a declaration of unseriousness.
This has been a Sunfish production.